Hi everyone, let me just refresh my screen a couple of times so I can see myself and see who's out there today. Takes me about 20 seconds after I start to be able to see myself. So let me do that. We'll wait for a few people to come on and then we'll get started. It's snowing where I am. I don't know. Oops, I hear myself. I don't know if it's snowing where you are, but it's snowing here. It was snowing. So I'm happy to be indoors making this comfort food tonight with all of you. So I see there's someone there, I think, unless it's myself. If you hop on the live stream, just say hello, make a comment, let me know you're there. And I'll give it like another second or two. I have a ton of ingredients and things tonight to show you, and a whole setup here of some water heating up, a pan heating up. There's a lot going on. So, all right, I'm going to get started. Again, let me know who you are and who's there. Hi, Kimba. Hello. I love seeing your name on there. I'm glad you're here. You'll have to tell us about your creme brulee later. That is great. So, all right, there are a few people here. I am Coco Huff for cocohuff.com, COCOHOUGH. I am a kitchen designer, and now I am also sharing my love of food and working to make your time in your kitchen as stress-free and delicious as possible through various cooking techniques that we've been talking about. Hi, Lynn. Welcome back. Lynn says she loves Eggs Benedict, and I'm so excited to, I almost just said I'm so sorry. I'm so excited to share this with you tonight. So as I was saying, through techniques, and this is a pretty technique-heavy evening, actually, so that is a good thing. And I just think the more of these things you can just be really comfortable with and sort of improvise on as you cook day to day, the better. So as we already said, when I answered Lynn, we are making Eggs Benedict tonight, which most people are familiar with. It's a brunch staple, and the basic version of it is an English muffin with Canadian bacon, or you can do some sort of ham. You can, we're going to talk about how to vary it up a little bit. A poached egg and Hollandaise sauce. So the two techniques that we'll be focusing on are poaching the eggs, how to do that, how to do it for a crowd, all the different things that go into a successful poached egg, and the Hollandaise sauce. Hi David, welcome. I'm so glad the whole crew is here again. This is great. So that is that. I'll show you what I have here. And also as we go, of course, as usual, if you have any questions about this, about the other egg techniques, about anything for the future, and I think we'll wrap up the egg series pretty soon. If not tonight, then one more night, but I think I'll probably do some pre-recorded stuff for the rest of it. And then if you have anything in mind that you would like, please let me know, like to focus on for a couple of weeks, how to work with a certain ingredient or things that we can do. So actually tonight was requested by Stacy. I don't know if she's here yet. But how to do poached eggs, so that is part of this. And David says this is his favorite brunch thing. I mean, it is, of course, really delicious. So let's look at what I have. Among other things, I have my eggs, which are the star of what we're doing tonight. We need them for the Hollandaise sauce. We need them to poach, of course. I have these beautiful English muffins. These are, Stacy is here. Oh, good. Stacy is here. She says hi, and like I said before, this was a request by Stacy, so I'm glad you're here, and let me know if you have questions as we go. So, okay, these English muffins are a sprouted grain English muffin from Whole Foods. I think they just have like a heartier little bit of a smell and texture to them, and I liked their straight size aesthetically. I just thought they looked good, and so I chose those. We have our Canadian bacon. That's the typical meat that goes on an Eggs Benedict, and then I have some smoked salmon here as well, so we'll do a variation. We'll talk about maybe some other things you could do to mix it up and make it a sort of a fancy Eggs Benedict. So first things first, I want to just sear this Canadian bacon. So Canadian bacon is already cooked, but I don't, you don't want it like this, obviously. We talk about this a lot, like any brown caramelized bits you can get on your, this is hot, oh it is hot, on your meat. Of course, just makes it that much better. And then, that brown caramelized bit will get onto your English muffin. So that is on minimum heat and it's sizzling away, so hopefully I won't forget about it. And then we're going to take care of one other sort of administrative task and split our English muffins so that we're ready to toast them later. So my kids were shocked by this bit of information, which is that you always split your English muffin with a fork. Maybe most of you know that. We all grew up with Thomas's English muffins. I still love those as well. Maybe that's too low. Okay. So you split them with a fork. They're already partially pre-split so that you get all those nooks and crannies. I don't know if nooks and crannies is a trademarked term, but hi Susanna, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. It's nice to see you. I've been kind of obsessed with your cute new dog on Facebook. So cute. Where's my trash? Trash is over here. Okay, look how nice those look. They have a nice looking texture and you can see that spread of green in there. So my water for poaching is coming up to temperature. I'd say it's almost there. It has like the little bubbles before something boils. That's what's going on top there. All right, we'll split these two. That's taking me too long. And put them back to the side. And then we'll toast those at the end. Okay, so let's talk about poaching. I feel like this is an intimidating thing, and I have actually been intimidated by this. And my kid's dad grew up on Christmas having poached or Eggs Benedict for Christmas morning, and I always thought, oh my god, I can't do this for 9 people. And so we sort of changed up. We had that strata that we did this year. We've done that a lot. But I think I'm building up to understanding how you could do that for 9 people and have it all served at once. I mean, that's the key. So the things to be concerned about are, first of all, getting the egg to all come together and not the whites to kind of spin all around the pan and you lose so much of it and the presentation isn't quite as nice. So having a more solid poached egg with a still runny yolk, and then how to keep them to the side and have them all ready at once for your crowd. So a couple things. We're starting with room temperature eggs. This was my own theory and I've sort of tested it, that if the egg's not too cold, the white's going to cook more quickly and it won't have as much time to spread out around your pan. And then the things I've read are that the fresher the egg is, the more the white is going to hold together. This is another one of these things. I'm going to go on and on and on about egg whites right now. But the fresher the egg is, the more it will hold together. And if these are pretty fresh, I just bought them this morning. But the next step to kind of ensure that it's going to hold together is to put it through a strainer first. Not the whole thing, but put it into a strainer. So that if this has nothing coming out, which I think implies that it's very fresh. But if it were a little bit older, some more watery liquid would come out, and then you've removed that from what will be your poached egg, and it won't spread all over your pan. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, just tell me. So we have our egg. It's gone through the strainer. I'm just going to put it in the bowl now. And then make sure this water, you do not want it in a rip-roaring boil because it'll tear your egg apart. So we're warming up the water, and then we want to add vinegar. I'm sure you've heard that before too. So 2 tablespoons of vinegar to all this water helps the whites to congeal more quickly. And then, let's see, someone did an experiment about salt and discovered that salt actually makes it fall apart more. So we don't put salt in, just the vinegar. Hi Kelly, welcome. We're starting to poach our eggs for Eggs Benedict. And all right, I'm gonna just crank this up for a second. I know I say this every week, the electric It's either braising hot or it's not on at all. Oh, we also last week learned how many electric burners you can put on one circuit before it blows a fuse. And the answer is 3. That was really awful. So, all right, I'm flipping this. This is a little bit low. I'm gonna unflip it, putting it back where it was. Those are not browned yet. There's like a piece of green on there. All right, let those brown a little more. You can see the bubbles are starting to come up, so I'm gonna turn this back down. That's as much boiling as we want. And then there are 2 methods. So one is, Lynn asked what kind of vinegar. So this is a white wine vinegar that I actually had for the salad dressing for last week that we never got to. Not a balsamic, obviously, like anything that won't color your water. So apple cider vinegar, champagne vinegar, white vinegar, distilled. It's really just about the acid, not so much the flavor. So it's the acid reacting with the egg whites. And hello, Jane, welcome. Another favorite, she said. This is a good one, right? Okay, so the first one, we're going to do the stir technique. So the idea is we create a vortex in this vinegar water so that the egg gets like caught in the vortex when we drop it in and stays in the middle. So hopefully that's what's going to happen. I'm going to spin it pretty fast and then drop the egg into the center. Woo! Okay. And then use your spoon to kind of push the egg whites. It's okay, it worked. I'd say this one, it's working. All right, it got caught up in the vortex as opposed to being in the middle of the spiral, but now it has settled down. There's this one long wispy that will take off, and now it's resting, and it's all kind of together. I'm always very happy when that actually happens, because sometimes it can be like, throughout the whole pan. Okay, so now 3 minutes for that one. That's our vortex one. And then the next 3 we're going to do all at once. And I think it works both ways. And Stacy said that worked great. It did. It worked great, right? It was like, you never really know. That's why it's been an intimidating thing. But the warm egg, the vinegar, the vortex, that was it, right? It worked. So 3 minutes, I don't know, like quarter after. We'll take that one out and we'll do 3 more. Like that. So in the meantime, I'm going to crack them and get them ready to go. And our bacon is starting to sizzle, our Canadian bacon. So, all right, that's, whoops, I just cracked one on the counter. Make that so you can see what I'm doing. There's a piece of shell in there. Nothing's coming through. I think these are just very nice fresh eggs. All right, 2. Always crack your egg on a flat surface. Teresa, hi! She's saying that worked great, or it was very cool. I'm not separating, I'm just putting it in. Okay. I have to admit, I never know if that was gonna work or not. I did practice, and it was cool, right? It really worked. So fresh eggs. This one has some liquid coming out, so we're going to strain it out so that won't be all throughout your water. And that one is just kind of cooking away. You want the whites to be, this one was different from the rest. So you can see how much of this wasn't going to coagulate properly. Dump that out, put this one in its little bowl. And one more. This is the right time for it to go well when everyone's watching. But yeah, we'll go over the tips one more time later. And that one looks good, a little bit coming out. Let me flip the Canadian bacon. Oh, good, that looks delicious. My dog is standing here. I don't know if you can see her. Yeah, she's over here just like, what is this great smell? All right, a little bit out of that one. And we have our 3 next eggs ready to go. All right, so let's talk about how to do this for a crowd. If you're just serving up a couple poached eggs, obviously this is fine, we're done. But if you want to save them for later, we're going to stop them in ice water the way you would turn this one off. All right, the way you would do for hard-boiled eggs or soft-boiled eggs to stop it from cooking once it's out of the heat. So I have this bowl, the ice melted, but it's cold. It's actually very cold water. I have my steamer insert. I'm just going to put it in here so it's easier to get them out. And I'm going to place the poached egg in the very cold water, and we'll heat it back up later. Let me show you. Is it ready? Maybe it needs another minute. You kind of have to gauge by how it feels, because, no, see how I don't know if you can see that, it all spread way back out again when I pulled it out. I'd say it needs another minute in there. It just depends on the temperature of your eggs, it depends on the size of your eggs. This water kind of cooled down a little bit more. I just turned it back up. So gauge how it feels. You don't want it to be super, super soft because it will pop very easily. All right, I'm going to take that bacon and put it on a tray to put in the oven. Hi, Helene. Helene says, I'm late. I'm sorry. You are perfectly on time. I always say fashionably late is the only way to be. But if you have questions, let me know. We are talking about poached eggs and Eggs Benedict. This is going into just a warm oven to keep it, kind of warm. Let's get rid of this. And then we'll let this burner cool off again for our Hollandaise. So where are we here? Oh wait, there's one egg poaching. Hold on, let's look at it again. We have one little egg all by itself over here. That looks better to me. It's still jiggly, but it didn't totally flatten out. Let's let it sit and put the other ones in. So this time we're doing it without the vortex method. We're just putting them in because one at a time you'll be there all day if you're doing a lot of them. So what you want to do is get it really low to the water. We're not spinning, so just dropping it in, and then kind of use your spoon to push the egg whites over itself right away. So let's try it. This water's not very hot. It's pretty hot. It's about to bubble at the bottom. So in it goes. You can see it stay together. I think that has to do with the fact that it's not cold. The egg is not cold. Plus the vinegar. All right. They want to be next to each other. And it stayed in one place with not a lot of wispies, so that was success again. And we'll just do the rest. Kelly says, hold on here, Kelly says, do you find a difference with the size of the eggs? Yes, in the cooking time, not in the success of it, but in the cooking time itself. Larger eggs just take longer, and it's same with, ooh, that one worked too, 3 for 3 so far. It's the same if you're hard boiling them, if you're soft boiling them, anything you're doing, these are large eggs. So if you had extra large or jumbo, it will take longer. So I'd say this has taken 5 minutes, maybe more. This one got kind of wispy, but that's okay. It's gonna be fine. That's what I don't want so much, but it's okay. This one's coming out. That looks perfect. It's moving still, but not so much. And that's going in my very cold water. Oh, but ideally not upside down like that. I don't want to mess. There we go, like that. And you can store that in the fridge. You could store it in the fridge, and we're going to dip it back in the hot water to warm it back up again. This one was not as successful, but it's fine. We're just kind of trying to show the difference. You can see how there's foam all around it, but I'll leave it alone. And now one last one coming up. In it goes. Gently, I might have gotten overzealous before. Gently push its whites onto itself. Yeah, that one's working. Okay. All right, not bad. We had 2 perfect ones and 2 pretty good ones, so we're okay. And we'll let those go for about 5 minutes we needed before. And we're gonna start on our hollandaise. So, hi Anita, and then Anita asked why did we put the vinegar in the water? So, I don't know the actual, like the name of the chemical reaction, but the vinegar causes the egg whites to coagulate more quickly. So as opposed to just plain water. So what we want is, you know, before it can spread all over the place in the water, you want it to start cooking, you want it to start firming up, just the whites. I think the technical term is not coagulate, I think it's denature, but that's why we put the vinegar in. It helps it to happen more quickly, as opposed to salt, which I don't know if you were here earlier when I said that salt causes it to spread out more, so you don't want to salt this water. All right, these are looking pretty good. I hope that was not just such a long-winded explanation that it didn't make sense. So let me know if there are more questions about that. All right, so we're going to talk about our hollandaise. We'll come back to those other 3 eggs that are poaching in a second. So in French cooking, there are 5 sauces that are called the mother sauces of French cooking. We've already talked about bechamel twice. We did it for the stuffed eggplant day, and we did it for something else that I'm not remembering right now. What was it? Was it the souffle? I think it was for the souffle. Yes, it was the souffle. So that's flour, butter, and then you pour in your milk and whisk it in. And some nutmeg usually. And so hollandaise is also one of the French mother sauces, and it's thickened by, oh, this is boiling too much now, thickened by egg yolks as opposed to flour. And that's what we're making today. So after today, you will know 3 of the 5 French mother sauces, and we'll probably find a reason to do the rest of them at some point. Okay, so we're going to work on this sauce now. It's actually very simple. So we're going to separate 3 eggs. We've done this twice before. We only need the yolks. So I have my little egg ice cube tray here where I'll save the whites for meringues or, you know, any number of things that we could do with them. I only save them if there's no yolk in them at all. But I know we've said that before, but it's worth saying every time. If there's any yolk or fat in them, they won't whip in the future, so you might as well just use them for scrambled eggs. All right, so I have my white in this bowl. Let me clear this so you can see what's happening. And then my yolk is going into this cold pan. There's no heat on this pan right now. If there were, we'd be making scrambled egg yolks. And then the whites, as I do it, they go in there so that if the next one gets contaminated, it won't ruin all of them. All right, so 3 of these. Yolk into the pan, white into another section of the ice cube tray, egg shell into the compost, and 1 more. So far I've had, I think, 100% luck separating eggs on this show. You know, sometimes the yolk just breaks and it gets all into the whites, and that's it, you start over. All right, that worked. I'll put this over here. All right, so in this pan then, we have just 3 egg whites, and we're going to put them on a low heat with a little bit of water. Oh, we should take our poached eggs out. Let's just look at that. This, you can see the foam everywhere. We're going to neaten those up. That one's a little bit more cooked. All right, quickly into the water. Those cooked more quickly. I feel like they still have, hopefully, some runniness to them. I wasn't really watching as carefully as I could have. That one's firm. I'm going to do 1 more while we're talking and see if I can catch it on time. 1 more for the heck of it. It's fun to see that yolk run at the end. All right, might as well. We have the water going. All right, in you go. That one looks good. Okay, that one looks good. See, it's just right there. all staying calm by itself. The other ones were sort of moving around a lot. Okay, so where was I? All right, we have the 3 yolks. And before I put it on the heat, I'm adding a little bit of water so that it's harder. It just has about a tablespoon of water. It just makes it harder for them to turn into scrambled eggs. It gives it more of a chance to spread around like a sauce as opposed to like it might clump up. And we'll add some lemon juice. Let's put it on low heat. And then we're going to add lemon juice, salt, and a tiny touch of cayenne pepper. And then you can add more of those things according to your taste. I actually like quite a lot of each of them. So I am rolling out my lemon to get the most juice out of it. And we'll probably do the whole lemon. I love this thing. I also have like the manual juicer, and I have this kind of juicer, but this is a good, quick way to do it. So this, we'll put about a tablespoon of lemon juice. And the flavors in the Hollandaise really are lemony, buttery. So we're creating an emulsion of lemon and butter. And the emulsifier in this case, the thing that holds the fat and the other liquids together, are the egg yolks. So, okay, let's whisk. What did I say? Salt and cayenne. Yeah, a little salt. And a little bit of cayenne. All right, so that is the base for our Hollandaise. We don't have the butter in there yet. And we're going to whisk it. Oh, I made a little bit of scrambled eggs already. And this is on minimum heat, but this can be saved at that point. You just want to get in there and start whisking immediately so it doesn't make clumps. You want a smooth sauce. All right, a little bit more lemon juice. You would do this over low heat, especially if you have gas. It's easier, gas burners, it's easier to control. All right, and now we want to start taking this off the heat for a second. We want to start adding our butter. This is where it gets a little touchy. We're doing a stick and a half, up to a stick and a half of butter, a little bit at a time. So like this much at a time. The same way with the bechamel, we do our milk a little bit at a time so that it can thicken bit by bit. We are doing our butter a bit at a time so it can sort of all get absorbed into this mixture. All right, so this takes a little while, so I'll be whisking. If you have questions, let me know. So every time the butter melts, take the next chunk and put it in there. So right now it's pretty thick. Our egg's doing well over here. I think Alton Brown said the temperature of the water should be under boiling, like just to the point where you can stick your finger in there for a second, and that is actually what this water is over here for our poached egg. So that is another way to tell. This smells delicious already. I always feel like these ingredients we use are like in any combination would taste good together. Butter, lemon, sugar, salt, all this goodness. Which reminds me we are going to put just a pinch of sugar in here as well. Okay, so as you add the butter, the consistency will get thicker and then it will get thinner again. Let's take this one out. Kelly Brand says, I had no idea there was so much butter in Hollandaise sauce. No wonder it's so good. That is exactly true, right? Oh, this one needs another second. There's that fine line between it's too soft and the yolk is firm, so we're working on that one. Right, a stick and a half of butter is going to be good. That's for sure. All right, keep whisking. So we were talking about emulsifying. This is similar to like if you were making homemade mayonnaise. Our salad dressing, a Caesar salad, is emulsified in egg yolks. Egg yolks bind together fats and other liquids, so they are an emulsifier. So you want to, take advantage of that. The sauce will hold together, the fat and the butter will hold together. Butter has its own solids that also help it do that, as opposed to like an oil that wouldn't work as well. Although it works in mayonnaise, it would just be a little different. But they'll say the thing that people are intimidated about with hollandaise is that it can break. And what they mean when they say it can break is that you get to this point and it's perfect, and then suddenly it separates and your fat is floating on top, and it just isn't the same. It's not emulsified anymore. So what has happened at that point is the fat has like overtaken the amount of emulsifying that the egg yolks can do. It's like too much fat for the amount of egg yolks that you have. So I think there are ways you can overcome that. Some people say a little bit of hot water and just whisk until it comes back together. I think adding another egg yolk would help in that situation. There are things you can do. So I think that's the thing that people get afraid about with the hollandaise sauce. It's really not difficult, except that can happen. And then there are ways back from it. So you can see this is pretty thick right now. We want to get a little bit thinner. Is this egg done yet? Almost. Okay. Let's just keep going. So we're almost at 1 stick of butter, and I'm going to add more lemon juice at some point too, and then we'll taste it for salt and lemon and spice and all those things. John is my AV commentator. I hope you can all hear me even with all this whisking going on. Okay, last bit of this first stick of butter is going in. So it sort of speeds up. It starts to speed up. The butter starts to melt more quickly. It's all coming together. It looks gorgeous. Look at that color. Let's taste as we go. Oh yeah, that's really good. All right, I like most things kind of on the salty side and the tangy side, so I'm going to start adding a little bit more salt and a little bit more lemon and more cayenne at this point, or maybe in about 3 seconds. Let's do 1 more bit of butter. So depending how rich you like it, I think 1.5 sticks is the minimum for these 3 yolks. You could do probably up to 2 sticks. It would make a thinner sauce and much more buttery sauce. And then beyond that, you might then break the sauce like we were talking. So don't go too far with the butter. So we are almost there. I'm going to add some more salt. I like things kind of savory. I should probably stick my English muffins. This is multitasking at its finest. Into the toaster. Let's do that. Alright. So all of a sudden it's going to be ready. Let's get this egg. Whoa, where are they? They're right here. Egg out of the water. Oh yeah. That last one. I feel like the last of anything is always the perfect one. Look at that. It's kind of perfectly jiggly and not overcooked. So there are at least 2 in here with, that one's very firm, the rest are pretty soft. That's good. We did it. We did that part. There's the rest over there. And, alright, we're almost done with our sauce. Oh, Teresa, I missed a question. Thank you, Kimba, for calling that to my attention. So Teresa asked if it's salted or unsalted butter. So this is unsalted butter. A lot of people say never to use salted butter because you want to control your salt amount, which is generally true, but there's nothing wrong with using salted butter. You're putting salt in here anyway. Just be aware that you won't need nearly as much salt. So taste as you go. Make sure it's at a salt level that you like. I happen to love salted butter like on bread and stuff. It's so tasty. I just do like to have more control as I'm baking. So there's cooking and baking. Yeah, this is unsalted Kerrygold butter. That just happens to be what I buy. That's not necessarily an endorsement. John says, never too much butter. It is true. That is true. That is a good point. All right, we're almost at the stick and a half point. So you can see it's pretty thick still. And I like it to be a little bit more pourable. Like, I don't want it to be kind of clumped over the Eggs Benedict. I want it to be poured over, like, you know, like a silky sauce. So that we'll add some more lemon to thin it out. You're welcome, Teresa. Those need another second. Okay. Another tablespoon of lemon juice. We'll try that. And you'll see this just thinned out like considerably. There we go. That's what we want. Like something we can pour or put under. Hollandaise sauce is also wonderful on asparagus. And if you were gluten-free, I saw a recipe. It was asparagus cooked in like a garlic olive oil with shallots, and then they put a piece of prosciutto over that, and then a poached egg and hollandaise. So without the English muffin, I was like, that looked delicious. We could certainly do that with this. Regina said Kerrygold is the best. It is. I happen to love it. We did a taste test a couple years back of all the European butters with the kids. We had like a double blind taste test, and that was one of our favorites. They do all have very different flavors. I think it's about, you know, like the terroir, the soil and the grass, where they come from, makes them taste different. In my mind, I don't know if this is true. I feel that, I think I've heard it somewhere. All these European butters, the cows are eating grass, and even though it doesn't say grass-fed organic, that it's actually coming from, you know, healthier cows and makes the butter better for you too. So, all right, another dash of cayenne in here just to finish it off, and we have our hollandaise. All right, we're basically done. So. Kelly says, Thomas's English Muffins or something else. I love Thomas's English Muffins. I have some in my fridge, but I also got these sprouted wheat English Muffins from Whole Foods. Well, they're sprouted grains. They were like a variety of sprouted grains. Say that 10 times fast. That I just thought looked good, so that's what I have today. But any kind else actually would be totally fine. Jane was part of this butter taste testing thing. Do you remember this? So she says Lure Pack butter is delicious and you can find it at Whole Foods. And that was also, and it had a very different flavor to it. It was like more grassy and earthy, but also really good. That's a good recommendation. Okay, so let's talk about how to do this for a crowd. Hollandaise sauce is not known for keeping for a long time, but you can revive it. So this could sit in this warm pan. It doesn't form a skin or anything like that. And then very slowly, so that you don't cook the eggs too much, you could bring it back up to temperature, maybe a little bit more water or lemon juice to keep it thin. That can be done a little bit in advance. I did some this morning that's actually sitting in my fridge. I think what happens with anything with a lot of butter in it is that the butter turns solid. So then you would want to bring it back to room temperature, and then you'd have to finesse it a little bit with whisking to get it to blend all back. So a little bit in advance for this. The poached eggs, we have at this point. So this could sit, the rule I've heard is up to 6 hours. So that's not like day before necessarily, but you know, you could get it going before everyone's standing there with a plate like ready to go. So what we do now, because these are cold, let me just skim off the top of this water. That's the one thing about fried eggs too. You know, everyone's waiting for their dish and you're making one egg at a time. It's not so easy. But we're going to put them back into this hot water just to warm for like 30 seconds as we go. Okay, so we're plating now. Let me clean this up a little so it looks nice for us. Jane, is lure pack from England, I'm wondering, and Regina, I know you're Irish, so you like carry gold. Is this like a birthright type thing? I'm very curious about this. Okay, so we have this board. I have 2 plates. I had 2 plates. Here's the other one. Okay. And we're going to do 2 different kinds. All right. So this will be our, oh no, I have to warm them up as I'm talking. Regina says, I was so right. Regina says her mom is from Kerry. And it never occurred to me until right this second that Kerry Gold means it's from Kerry. That's so funny. That is funny. Yeah, it's like in your blood to like it, and it is really good. All right, we're putting these back into the water just to, that one's too solid, we're not doing that one. Just to warm back up. Obviously, if you had a lot of people, you would use a bigger bowl than this. And what I could have done actually is just lifted this strainer right out of here. That was my intention. Lift the strainer right out of here, right into the hot water, and then rescue them from there. So I forgot. That's okay. Regina, that's, oh wait. Regina says it's Danish, but you're, what? No, I'm confused. I missed that first comment. I'm gonna have to research this, or you can tell me more. Danish, I didn't know that. Okay, so we have our Canadian bacon. So I'm gonna put 2 of these on each one. Let's butter our English muffins, actually. I think that's important. All right, take those back off. Because we don't have enough butter on here already. Where did my butter go? Maybe we're not going to, because I lost it. Oh, I don't know where the butter went. Pretend we buttered the English muffins. Okay. The mystery of the butter. Unless I used it all. No, I didn't. But all right, we lost it. Buttered English muffins. Oh, lure pack is Danish. Got it. Thank you, Regina. Lure pack is Danish. That makes sense. Good to know. They're all good. You should, I think anyone who has extra time on their hands should do a butter taste test. Like go get all the European butters and try them out. All right, on this one, we're going to do some smoked salmon. So I have this beautiful plate of smoked salmon. I'll just put, a couple pieces on each one. I happen to also love Danish food. We all have a lot of Danish friends around here. And I went to visit one once, and we had such good things. So at some point we'll talk about some of those things. Is that enough? That's probably enough for that. Okay, and then our eggs go on next. So we need to kind of drain them. You don't want all that liquid on your Eggs Benedict. So just scoop them out, kind of get a paper towel and touch them on there. And then what people do to kind of imitate the restaurant, so see this like little string, you can either pull it off, or I read that you can like snip them into shape. Don't snip the yolk, obviously, but snip them into like a rounded shape that you are trying to achieve. And then place it on top like that. Okay. Next one. This one got a little bit firm, but keep an eye on them a little more. I know I was talking, that one's firm, but that's okay. Got a little small too. Okay, blotted. This one has a lot of excess white, so we'll take that off. There. And last but not least, this was our lone final egg. That one looks really good. That was the one that sat there while we were making the sauce. That's kind of perfect. I love a runny yolk. That one is awesome. Okay, so that goes on top. And then our sauce, and then a little bit of garnish, and then we're done. So, okay. Let me just move that. And I need a spoon for my sauce. Where did it go? Okay, quick whisk to keep this together. You can see, where are we here? This is still very sauce-like. It sat for a good 5 minutes or so and was totally fine. We're going to spoon it on top of each plate. Kind of in a stripe across. Like, oh yeah, that looks so good. Well, I get very excited about my own cooking. I think everyone should. If you make something amazing, be proud of yourself. Okay, look how nice that looks. Move this out of the way so you can see it. And now these two. Kimba said nobody's commenting because we're all holding our breaths for runny yolks. I am too. I really am. But except I know which ones are going to be runny because I can feel them. I mean, what if they were all really solid and I would have to pretend I blew a fuse again and run away. I would not show it to you. No, I would. But I would be sad. I would keep going and you'd have to keep watching until I had run away. Okay, look at that. That looks so good. And then I want to do some fancy garnishes. So for the standard one, I just have, it's not so fancy actually, I have some scallions. I'm just going to snip it right over top. That, a little bit on there. And then for, oh thank you, now they're, Kimba, you got them going. So Mia says it looks gorgeous. My brother sent me the heart eyes emoji, big heart eyes like that. So for our lox Eggs Benedict, I have some caviar. This is a whitefish roe. You could do, you know, black caviar. Any, you know, red or black might actually show up better, but I think this looks kind of pretty and peaceful looking, like that. Okay, so you have sort of like mirroring those flavors of the fish, and then a classic Eggs Benedict. Always wipe your plate when you're plating. Okay, so we have our duo of Eggs Benedict. And now we get to try it. So I hope you will all try it at home and make this as well. Let me just check which ones are going to run. It was these two, right? Excuse me for poking them all. Yeah, those two are going to be running. I would not want it to see any other way. Teresa says it looks amazing. Thank you, Teresa. It really is good. Oh, you can add, I didn't do it. I mentioned it and then I did not do it. You can add like 1/4 of a teaspoon of sugar to your hollandaise as you're whisking. If you're tasting it and it's a little bit too tart. Like I added that extra lemon and then I could have added 1/4 of a teaspoon of sugar just to balance it out a little bit. But I like things tart and savory, so that's just a personal preference. But you don't be afraid of sugar in small amounts in savory sauces, like we did when we had our pan sauce night. Oh, Helene says it's my favorite brunch. I mean, really, it is so good. I've lost all my utensils. All right, I have a fork, I have a knife. Let's check this out. All right, I've turned them towards you. This is our standard. Oh, baby, let's find, oh yeah. Runny yolk, can you see it? Perfection. Cut into that. Oh my gosh, look at that bite. There's runny yolk, there's the ham, there's our hollandaise. That looks so good. Okay. It is so good. That's delicious. Helene gave the thumbs up for runny. It is success. It's just such a perfect combination. All right, and then we have the lox and the caviar with our hollandaise on top. Let's try that too. Let's go back to this one so you can see it. Oh yeah, that one's runny too. Perfectly cooked eggs. All right. It's good. That was a big bite. That's really good. If you're someone who likes smoked salmon and caviar and all those flavors, the egg yolk and the hollandaise really bring it together, like an added richness and deliciousness. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend this as well. It's, standard Eggs Benedict. That's delicious. There are so many other things you can try too, like pulled pork, duck confit, like there's just a million for the meat and the garnish on top, things that you can do with this. My dog just knocked over her bowl at the key moment. Yeah, so I just hope that you will try some of them, and don't be afraid of that hollandaise sauce. It will work out for you. So thank you for your compliments. Thank you for being here. We will be back next Tuesday at 7 p.m. again. And send me your requests. Send me your pictures when you make things. I love hearing about it. And I can't wait to see you again. Thank you for being here today. Bye-bye.